This is a conversation of the CM's chair. This is a conversation about the governance of people. What happens to the CM chair? This has been the predominant conversation ever since Congress won a resounding mandate. Is it a small mandate? Of course it's not a small mandate.
Is this something that is covering up the main issue of Karnataka?
Why is Karnataka Congress more interested in controlling its factions and less about delivering for the state? He said there are no distractions. There is no such problem within our parties. Our party might have differences within, but we are not in government. Do you think we are growing Lal Bagh on our ears?
Funny thing happened, like Mallikarjun Kharge coming out and saying, let the High Command decide.
And I don't find it funny at all, because I really do not find it funny. Very disappointing that a Dalit leader of that credibility and stature has to do nothing else but bow down to Mata Sonia Gandhi. This is psychopathy, that's it.
In this chaos, are they forgetting the governance and how it is impacting the people of Karnataka?
The city has given everybody a lot, but what have you given back? What has a politician like you given? Nothing.
Vote chori, are they bringing it up to just to cover up the loss, or is there any other thing?
If you're so confident that we have done nothing wrong, it's just the BJP, order an inquiry. Hit stones, run. Hit stones, run. Nothing. No intangible action is taken on it. Rahul Gandhi is actually the biggest champion through his vote chori campaign, is the biggest champion for the SIR. If you cannot have a conversation, then create confusion and chaos.
Hello, namaskar. You're watching KTV India with me, Varsha Venugopal. Today, in KTV India studio with me, there's a special guest. And right now, her presence makes whole sense, because there's so much happening in Karnataka, particularly in Bangalore. And somebody like her coming and speaking about it, it actually makes it work. So with me, it's Surabhi Hodigere, the BJP spokesperson. Welcome to KTV India.
Thank you so much, Varsha. Thank you.
So first of all, thank you for coming to KTV India's office, making time for us, because it's a very crucial time for Karnataka, or say for Bangalore, because so many things are happening. The CM chair tussle is happening, farmers' protest is happening over there for the maize thing, and it's been 10 days since the Gadige protest is being happening over, and the development issues are still on. Although the government is saying that we are working, but there are so many places where they are still needed to be developed. So let's start with the farmers' protest that is happening in Gadige. So it's been almost 10 days the maize farmers are protesting for their rights, which is like the MSP. So apparently the central has given them with this 2,400 MSP, but the state it's only just for 1,600 to 1,800, and they're protesting for their right. I mean, like from the sugar cane, now the maize, farmers have to actually fight for their rights. They're not getting it easily, even after they've been allowed for it. What's your take on that?
So it's also black gram, what we call. They've also started to come on the street. I think from an overall perspective, the reason that the BJP has, farmers place incredible amount of trust in the BJP, especially here in Karnataka, is because we have consistently spoken for farmers' welfare. So when issues came up in North Karnataka for farmers who had faced flood-related losses, compensation was promised, compensation was not delivered. That was where our first fight in the last couple of months began. We had leaders from BJP go and sit with the farmers, demand demand that the compensation amount be given immediately. Beyond that, when the sugarcane farmers protested that there was a production surplus, but the same is not being shared, we have been with them, with our entire cadre, supporting the claims that of fair distribution of production surpluses. And that continues for maize farmers as well as for black gram farmers who want quicker procurement at MSP level, fair share in production and surpluses. All of this goes to show one thing, which is that the Congress government has not had that focus, whether it is stopping of the Kisan Samman Nidhi that was being given by the S. Yediyurappa government and Bommai government later on, from the Prime Minister's fund, to not having the capability to sit down with farmers and have a discussion. The Congress has failed. Our ask is very simple. To solve each of these issues in a quick and efficient manner, the Congress must be responsive. And what better way to be responsive than when you're having a winter session start in just a week, in just a few days in Uttar Karnataka, nevertheless, in North Karnataka, nevertheless, the entire session should be dedicated to ironing out differences, understanding what is going on, making sure the farmers get their due compensation and due relief as well as due price.
So it's always BJP has shown their support since the sugarcane thing. We have seen B.Y. Vijayendra. He was there with them. He was there till their demands were cleared and like it was fulfilled. And just because he entered to the scene, I think the Congress came in and they actually tried to talk to the miller owners as well as the farmers. So we want to know how BJP will be standing with the maize farmers as well as the black farmers.
It's been even today we had conversations and different leaders under the leadership of B.Y. Vijayendra, who's very clearly demonstrated that, like a lot of people in the party, including B.S. Yediyurappa ji, we have a special concern for the people who grow our food, for the people who produce what we eat. It's incredibly important for us to be standing shoulder to shoulder with them, because this government is not responsive to them unless and until, and it's not just farmers, it's true for everybody else also. It's true for every other section of society, every other industry, that this government is not responsive unless and until it becomes a media issue or it becomes a opposition-led issue. That is what we're seeing. And in terms of farmers, it's very sad to say that it doesn't become a media issue unless the opposition goes there. Which is why we are aware of our very unique responsibility. And that is why B.Y. Vijayendra was there, sitting with them, having this conversation, making sure we were at the forefront of it. Today, there has been multiple protests that have been organized, not just in one region, and our leaders are present in there. Like I said, once the protests have given a certain momentum, it is our bigger responsibility to ensure that the assembly session, this issue is going to be raised very strongly, discussed, and answers are going to be sought on the ground, on the floor of the house. When it's happening, especially in Uttar Karnataka, in Belgavi, the winter session happens every year in Belgavi. Therefore, we have a special focus on that.
It's like last time when like the 150 years of Vande Mataram thing was happening, I had a chit chat with B.Y. Vijayendra sir. There he told that Congress is always late. Their response are always late. And right now, when all this farmer thing is happening, they have some internal issue within coming, that is a CM chair issue, of course. Is this something that is covering up the main issue of Karnataka? Because right now it is highlighted and people are not talking about those farmers. They are majorly talking about this CM share, seat share thing. So how is that?
Yeah, thank you for that. We are watching this very carefully, and I want to say that, not sure when the video is going out, but on December 27th, 28th, we have assembly level protests to stand with the farmers. Our Sangathan is our biggest strength. Everybody in the Sangathan is going to be working at an assembly level protesting. And then later on in the first week of December, we're also going to have Zilla level, district level protests to make sure that we give that push to ensure that the government delivers on its commitment to farmers. Having said that, there's a reason why we believe that the Congress is late to a lot of things. Because they're preoccupied. It's as simple as that. Ever since this government came to power, ever since the last 2.5 years, any conversation has revolved around what happens to the CM chair. The minute the CM chair was acquired by the Congress, from there on there has been a musical chair conversation on who's going to occupy that chair. Is it going to be Siddaramaiah sir for the next 5 years? Is it going to be Mr. D.K. Shivkumar for 2.5 years? This has been the predominant conversation ever since Congress won a resounding mandate. Is it a small mandate? Of course it's not a small mandate. It is a huge mandate. A huge mandate means huge responsibility. Yet for 2.5 years, there has been a continuous flurry of MLAs, ministers, supporters, even the chief economic advisor to the chief minister giving out statements to say, no, there is no power sharing, there is power sharing. He deserves to be chief minister. No, he does not. We have, and it's all come out in the open.
Yeah.
Yesterday, when the MLAs who had visited Delhi came back, they have started to give a statement. By the way, for 2.5 years, when we have cried foul and said that there is this agreement, there is instability, stop making this the predominant conversation. Why is Karnataka Congress more interested in controlling its factions and less about delivering for the state? He said there are no distractions. There is no such problem within our parties. There is no issue. And then they pull it back on us and say, do you not have issues? Our party might have differences within, but we are not in government. This is a conversation of the CM's chair. This is a conversation about the governance of people. It is not a conversation of who is a party president. If it was just a KPCC president, you think we would have had this much of opposition? The conversation in question is about CM chair. And they have been telling us it's been made up by the media. It is something that the BJP is creating. I have heard multiple times, sat with Congress spokespersons and had this conversation. Yesterday, when the MLAs came back, when they came back to Bengaluru after a trip to Delhi, until they were in Delhi also, they told us, no. They've just gone to ask for a ministership. This is a mere conversation about who's going to be a minister.
Yeah.
This is not about the issues. Yesterday, an official statement was made by the MLAs who came back from Delhi, including Iqbal Hussain, including a lot of other people who said, we need a stop to this issue. This chaos, this issue needs resolution. Today, Priyank Kharge has accepted. The next couple of days, we will sort things out. Why they are suddenly coming out and saying is for you to assume. Who they're supporting, who they're not. I will not go into that. But what this does is that you have been telling the people of Karnataka for the last 2.5 years that we are imagining this power sharing agreement. And today your own MLAs are coming out and asking the High Command to solve it. Do you think we're growing Lal Bagh on our ears?
No, but when you are talking about this High Command, a very funny thing happened. Like Mallikarjun Kharge coming out and saying, let the High Command decide. Now tell me who is the High Command?
I'm sorry, I do not find it funny. I find it very disappointing that a Dalit leader of that credibility and stature has to do nothing else but bow down to Mata Sonia Gandhi, to an incompetent dynast Rahul Gandhi, and to somebody who's merely entered politics officially in the last 2-3 years, Priyanka Gandhi. This is psychopathy, that's it. There's no other explanation. But everything revolves around the Gandhi family. That's it. That is the reality of the Congress party.
But don't you think during all this CM
And I don't find it funny at all, because I really do not find it funny. A prime minister can be elected from the religious minority community, yet he has to be superseded by Sonia Gandhi in decision making. A man who has spent his entire life building the economy of the country, contributing as the Minister of Finance, being at the head of many, many big institutions, his government's ordinance is torn up by somebody who has mere few years of experience in politics, but is only there based on his family name. That is the Congress party. Yeah. And today, a Dalit leader who has risen from very, very difficult situation and come up, has to himself acknowledge that he is not the High Command, even though he is the party president. This is the basic problem with the Congress party, which I don't have to say this. A majority of people in the Congress party have left because of this reason.
Yeah, there's one more thing that I wanted to make sure, like the ex-CM, Sadananda Gowda sir, he has came up and said, if DK Shivakumar is forming a government outside the Congress, we'll be there for supporting.
I want to clarify this statement because yesterday I was on live television when this statement was aired, and I want to give a very specific clarification on it, which was that the statement was not intended to say that we will be there to support. If you listen to the statement in entirety, the statement was not to offer support either or hint at anything. Absolutely not. I'm making it very clear. The leader of opposition here in Karnataka, R. Ashok Garu, has also clarified this again, that there is no interest from the BJP to do anything like that. It was only a matter of intellectual discussion. In that, media person asked, if the people, seniors in your party, if people in your party recommend this, would you think of this as a potential step? He said, yes, that's it. There is no such interest in the BJP.
So there's no such support from the BJP side until and unless if they come.
Even if they come also, there is no interest at this point.
Yeah.
It is only if at all in a hypothetical situation, such a situation comes to be, and that decision is made by seniors in the party, including seniors in Delhi, then we will be open to it. That's about it. This is not a conversation we're having, because we are re-stressing that the solution has to come from within the Congress. The Congress party's high command, which they put so much weight on, has to decide. One of the reasons Himanta Biswa Sharma left was because the Congress could not decide on tough issues. The Rajasthan debacle between Sachin Pilot and Gehlot went on for months and months because Rahul Gandhi cannot make a strong decision. The same thing is happening in Karnataka. Sit your leaders down, have a conversation, tell us what the plan of action is. Don't keep this, this never-ending OTT series. This is how it feels. Don't do that. Don't delay it.
But in this all chaos, they are forgetting the governance that they have to serve for the state of Karnataka, because there's a lot of issue. It's not just the farmer issue. It's the basic civil issues. In Bangalore, there are pothole issues. There are garbage thing and traffic jams. All of this, at some extent, the kids of a school has to come up and say, we are going late. It's such a bizarre thing that we have to wait in our school bus only for 2 to 3 hours, and then we are reaching late. And by the time we woke up, it's like literally few hours that we get to sleep. So we don't have time to do our extracurricular work as well. And still Gunjur Vartur stretch. It takes 2 more years to be fully covered. In this chaos, are they forgetting the governance and how it is impacting the people of Karnataka? We have to survive like this?
In Bengaluru, the conversation on Bengaluru's roads became very loud after 2 things. One was when Blackbuck decided that they're going to move their offices from a particular part of the city elsewhere. Second, when there was unfortunate deaths repeatedly of especially young women who were riding two-wheeler. If this is the cost for the government to wake up, then think about it when they're trying to save their own chair. Where is the time? The Deputy Chief Minister had given a deadline of 31st December. All potholes in arterial roads will be closed. When the CM was asked on 31st of October, the deadline was given that all arterial roads potholes will be closed. When the Chief Minister was asked on 31st of October, what is the status? He said, ask the Deputy Chief Minister. And the Deputy Chief Minister did not give us a reply at all. This is the blame game they're doing within themselves and forgetting that the people actually need solutions, not empty promises. And then the issue of Bengaluru infrastructure, Bengaluru roads, the minute somebody says something about it, the conversation is, you're bringing Bangalore down, you're talking ill about Bengaluru, how much this city has given you. The city has given everybody a lot, but what have you given back? The people that the question was asked to, the industrialists that the question was asked to, the question was, Bengaluru has given you so much, what have you given to Bengaluru? At least the industrialist can look up and say, I've given X amount of jobs, I've brought in so much GDP. What has a politician like you given to Bengaluru? What has a politician like you given? Nothing. And D.K. Shivkumar yesterday apparently has said, the Deputy Chief Minister has apparently said, the timelines should be in place for us to resolve the CM related issue. They want a timeline. Okay, if you have accepted 2.5 years, give us a timeline of when that 2.5 years starts, or when are you going to give us clarity on it? I ask on behalf of the people of Bengaluru to give us a timeline on when you're going to do land acquisition for the remaining metro work. The same metro phase that was accepted and the proposal was granted permission by the union government mere 100 days of the Modi government coming into power. When are you going to start land acquisition? Give me a timeline. And even though you couldn't stick to a timeline of when you're going to clear the potholes, please give us a timeline on when Bengaluru's major roads will be pothole free. Death holes, that is what it is, not potholes.
Actually, when it was in a series, there were time when women, especially women, they were like series of deaths, we can say.
Yeah.
And even Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar, he said in between when this whole 31st October timeline thing was going on, he said in the past term of BJP, there were a certain amount budget was given to do all of these developments, but that didn't happen. He raised a question that where does that money went and where is the development? If the situation of Bangalore is this right now, then we should ask the question to the BJP.
Great, let him ask the question, but let him do a little bit more as well. As Deputy Chief Minister, as person in government, he has the power to order an inquiry. Please order an inquiry. Please order an inquiry. Tell us if you really believe that there has been some misappropriation. Tell us. Put the people responsible in front of the people, in front of the citizenry. This has become a mere excuse to cover up their own faults. That's about it. You talk to them about BMTC, they will give you an same excuse. You talk to them about anything else. What is stop? Did your government not come to power saying that they're going to not be misappropriating funds, so on and so forth? Yet you had a Valmiki scam. Yet you had so many issues with smart meters. You had issues. Your own economic advisor came out and said that there's a 400 crore sand mining scam happening. If you're so confident that we have done nothing wrong, it's just the BJP, order an inquiry.
When you're talking about
this is the same modus operandi of Rahul Gandhi when he speaks about vote chori. Hit stones, run. Hit stones, run. Nothing. No intangible action is taken on it.
When you're talking vote chori, but before that, I want to cover about the Greater Bengaluru Authority as well. It's been 10 years, like almost 1 decade, that there's no election for that is happening, and the court has ordered that within 45 days the process should start. I mean, like, why this much delay was there for the elections? And
from our end, we had issues both with in respect to the COVID time, and then after that it was an issue with delimitation. But post that, and that was merely a few 1.5 years only. Post that, last year itself, we made it very clear that we are in support of the elections happening. But the Congress government wanted to split the corporation, come up with 5 corporations, and then do the GBA election. But the issue now that happens is that what GBA, what you have created, the 74th and the 73rd Amendment makes it very clear that local self-government, what is the vision behind local self-government? The vision has always been India is a land of villages that came together, and now we have urbanized. But that governance has to happen bottom up. It is not from top down.
yeah,
We have to have area sabhas, ward sabhas, panchayat system has to feed into governance happening at the state level and then into the central level. It is low, and the amendment, the constitutional amendment passed by their own government, where allows for local self-government to be run locally. State government cannot run a city corporation. However much attractive it might be for the state government to run Bengaluru and benefit from Bengaluru, Bengaluru must be run by those in Bengaluru directly. A Greater Bengaluru Authority to take up planning functions, to take up significant financial functions, to also pick up issues of cadre. It's ultra-virus to the constitution, and it goes against the 74th Amendment. I'm not saying this. There is a petition in court challenging precisely this.
Okay.
So today we are in this delay again and again for multiple issues. One that was not under our control when we were in power, which was the COVID. But after that, which was delimitation and then other things, all of that has put a hold on it. And GBA now, that authority being existent in itself is ultra-virus to the constitution, is what has led us to this position and situation.
Okay. So, because you mentioned before about vote chori, I really want to talk about that, because it started from when the first time he brought up the vote chori thing, it started from the Karnataka. And then 2 days prior to the first phase of Bihar election, he came up with Haryana vote chori. And now the whole India bloc is saying it's not ECI, it's BJP commission. Mamata Banerjee very recently, she gave a statement like that as well. So and even after the massive win in Bihar, the leaders of Congress were saying right now we are accepting this mandate, but after some time we'll definitely come up with the reason why this win has been gone to BJP. So like vote chori, are they bringing it up to just to cover up the loss, or is there any other thing about that?
A party whose electoral history is such that it dominated the country's election landscape for years to come. And then when Indira Gandhi as Prime Minister was told that she's disqualified from her position because of electoral malpractice, couldn't accept that verdict. Look at the the privilege of thought. Even she couldn't accept that verdict and instead declared an emergency. The history of a party whose behavior, whose admiration is towards a person like that, today tells us that the Election Commission is compromised without giving proof of it. What is the proof that was given? In Mahadevpura, in Aland, all of these constituencies, the Election Commission omitting or having errors in voter rolls. All of these things were discussed not as something which had malice, which was done intentionally, but they were errors. Which is precisely why we are saying let's do a special intensive revision across the country. Rahul Gandhi is actually the biggest champion through his vote chori campaign, is the biggest champion for the SIR. Let's clean up our rolls intensively. Let's also make sure that those who are not allowed to vote here in Bengaluru, in India, should be first weeded out. That data has to be put out first. Today, you are accusing an election commission of not working well, yet you don't give the public an understanding of what is not working well, let alone that. Go file a complaint. You've never had a clear understanding of processes. You've always, gone against processes, bypassed processes. But there is a process here. File a complaint, go to the court. The Congress and the Indie bloc, and Mamata Banerjee's case is very important. As Chief Minister of West Bengal, there's a lot of accusation that she is harboring people who have crossed the border illegally from Bangladesh. Yeah. And she's against the special intensive revision because she doesn't want to lose her vote bank. These are accusations in the public domain that I am simply repeating. Let her, she's against SIR in Bengal for this reason. What does that go on convey? If you have a problem with anything happening, take it to the courts. Take it to, put it out in public. All of the data that you have put out in public, whether it was Mahadevpura, Haryana, so on and so forth, has been fact-checked by media and the public themselves. So you don't have a narrative. What is the narrative that they have? That there has been deletion, that there has been addition, that the same people have voted in multiple places, that addresses have multiple number of people. Each of these concerns have been by the local MLA or by the people themselves clarified. If there is some coordinated malice, then you can put a case. But here it is errors that we also know. In Aland, it was our MP candidate who went and went to the court. We know these things are happening, which is why we are asking for a special intensive revision.
But they are not raising any question at their people where they are winning. They haven't raised in the...
No, in Aland, they did raise so on and so forth. But for every constituency that you said, I don't understand what the logic is. To be honest, I don't understand. I'll tell you, in my understanding and what I have made sense of this personally as well as within party circles, the people who are at the helm of suggesting this vote chori campaign have realized and recognized that Rahul Gandhi as a leader cannot be conveyed to the people of India. People of India have not accepted Rahul Gandhi as a leader. There is no chance of going up against the popularity, the charisma and the trust people have in the Prime Minister. So what do you do when you're losing and you're unable, nothing is working? The people around Rahul Gandhi have been whispering, and Rahul Gandhi himself thinks that way, is my assumption. I do not know, I've never met him. That if you cannot have a conversation, then create confusion and chaos.
That's what's happening in Karnataka.
That is what Rahul Gandhi and his team are doing with the vote chori campaign. Make sure that a credible institution, black marks are put on it. Without any proof, without any actual complaint. talk to people, make sure that this Gen Z awakening, take India's youth away. India's youth is our biggest superpower. Take them away from building actual productive resources, productive assets for the country and for themselves. Youth who are dreaming of economic mobility, take them away from that productive time, push them towards anarchy. That is what Rahul Gandhi is doing.
Even because it's a sort of covering up, we can say, from the main issues, like diverting people from the main issues. Because during the Belgavi farmer protest, this RSS Priyank Kharge put it so that people will be diverted from it, and it was like he was questioning the funding. He was questioning whether the organization has been registered, and in fact there were action against the people who were in the march with the RSS. There are like 2 teachers were suspended. They not exactly, and they wanted a full clarification from those 2 government workers that why did they join the RSS in their march.
Priyank Kharge has real issues to contend with. Andhra Pradesh is taking away investment, is taking away a significant, is very, very vocally saying that we are a competition to you. While Karnataka, not just Bengaluru, all of Karnataka requires more investment, more development. Priyank Kharge is also at a severe amount of stress because the region he represents continues to stay at the lowest per capita income across Karnataka and is comparable to the lowest per capita income in other states, including in Bihar. Priyank Kharge is in trouble because the ministries he runs are running at low efficiency and are not, the expenditure that they are supposed to be doing is not on par. Yet, and the kind of issues that are cropping up in the state, he is not able to answer. Therefore, he has been taking up this issue of the Sangh Parivar and whether it's registered or not, what are the different questions. All of these aspects have been answered again and again. I do not wish to repeat what is already in the public domain because that only empowers a Priyank Kharge from having to do distraction politics.
So these are the basic questions which literally the people want to ask to the government because they doesn't have time to answer all of this because they have their internal storm that is happening that is not even solved yet, just coming up and saying, yeah, we'll solve our crisis, and some have this mantra of high command batayega. This is their mantra right now. But anyways, thank you so much for coming to KTV India and spending time. And I feel like most of our audience only wanted to ask this question to the government. I hope they will answer this. I hope so. And again, thank you, Surabhi, for spending your time with us. And that was Surabhi Odigere with me, Varsha Venugopal. This was KTV India. Keep watching KTV India for more such contents. Thank you.